We are starting in on chapter 6 finally, polynomials. You cannot forget chapter 5 because you will use it in chapter 6.
Well, that's not good.
I was hoping to forget chapter 5.
No, you cannot forget it.
That was going to make me super excited about chapter 6.
No. Everything in math builds on itself. We know that hopefully at this point.
I wasn't right. It only gets harder.
So, we are going to talk about polynomials. And a polynomial just means many terms. Okay? This is a monomial. One term. Mono, one term. Okay? A binomial. Two terms. Binomial. We've heard those because we talked about squared binomials in the last chapter. Okay? So binomial. And if you've got a trinomial, would be three terms. That's a trinomial. Okay, a polynomial, these are all polynomials. Polynomial just means the poly could be a mono, a bi, a tri, and anything greater than a tri. 4 terms, 5 terms, 6 terms, 7 terms, etc. Okay, so this chapter is focusing not just on quadratics, but on polynomials where you could have x to the 7th plus whatever, or x cubed, 3 terms, 4 terms, 1 term, doesn't matter, but polynomial, many terms. Okay. We'll get into at the end, just like we got into quadratics and graphing those, how to graph polynomials. Okay, when you've got you've got like 3x cubed plus 2x squared minus 7x plus 1, those kinds of problems. But this first section, we've got to learn exponents and how they work. With a polynomial, there's something called, so if I do this, a polynomial like this one, just so you understand the terms, the greatest degree, which is your greatest exponent, is always, usually you write a polynomial in order of degree. So I would start with, this is written in the correct way. But if I had a 3x cubed sitting over here, I would want to rearrange it so it's in decreasing degree. Okay? This is a third degree polynomial because the greatest exponent is 3. The third degree polynomial. Okay? We call this the leading term. Leading term meaning first term. Leading term. So the leading coefficient is the number in front of the x term. Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if they're negative or not?
No, not when you're doing this. If you were going to solve it, usually you want to factor out the negative. But when it's just an expression like this term can be positive or negative.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So this is the leading term. This is the leading coefficient. This is a degree 3 polynomial or a third degree polynomial. We don't name the polynomial based on the number of terms. We name it by the degree. So far, so good?
You can't just like, even if it was 2x to the third power minus 2x to the second power, you can't like minus it.
No, they have to have the same. These are not the same. You can't add or subtract exponents that aren't the same.
So what do you do?
Okay? So you leave them like that. You don't combine them. They're not like terms. Okay, so getting to really the meat of this section, we learn some of the properties of exponents. I can't add or subtract unlike terms, but I can multiply and divide them.
But you have to add them.
So to multiply two terms with the same base, they have to have the same base, okay, I add the exponents. So this is x to the 5th.
But you multiply the x's.
They just have the same base. So if I had 2 squared multiplied by 2 cubed, to break it out, this would be 2 times 2. That's 2 squared, right? And then 2 cubed is just 2 times 2 times 2. So I have 2 to the 5th power, which is 2 plus 3. Mind blown.
So you just add it.
So you add exponents when you multiply the same base. But they have to be the same base for you to add them. I can't take x squared times y cubed and say it's xy to the 5th. That doesn't work.
But what if there's like a coefficient? Does that mean that?
No.
Like
If I have 3,
3x times. Well, I mean, if that's like a 4.
well, then it'd be 12x to the 5th.
So you just multiply those two.
Okay? So that's adding or multiplying exponents. Dividing, I have x to the 3rd over x squared. Well, that's the same if I had 2 to the 3rd over 2 squared. That would be 2 times 2 times 2 over 2 times 2. 8 divided by 2 is 2 squared, right? 8 divided by 4, sorry, is just 2. 2 to the 1st power. So what do you think? You subtract. So when you divide, this just becomes x to the 1st power, which I could just write as x. So when you multiply exponents with the same base, you add the exponents. When you divide exponents with the same base, you subtract the exponents.
Seems really easy.
When you have an exponent raised to an exponent, okay, so this, if I did 2 cubed raised to the 2nd power, that's 2 times 2 times 2 times the same thing, right? So that's 2 times 2 raised to the 6th.
Yeah.
Yep. You multiply them.
What if you have like 2 different numbers and you're dividing or multiplying by 2 different numbers and you just multiply it and then do it?
Let's do that, like that.
Without the parentheses, like without the cube.
Okay, well this I can't do anything with because there's no like terms.
What if there were?
Well, it's just division.
So it's if I have x to the 4th over x squared, I just subtract the exponents. So it's 3/4
Oh,
x squared.
And you can have
Okay,
a
so you
negative
don't-
Thank you.
exponent or what?
We're going to learn negative exponents in the next section, but yes, you can.
Quit asking questions.
But if I had a negative exponent, I subtract them, right?
what's it?
Negative 2 minus 2 is negative 4. So it'd be 3 halves x to the negative 4. You just subtract.
Mine says that they have to be.
Okay, we'll talk about them today then, just in case. Negative exponents are very easy. Okay? The thing you have to remember with negative exponents, the negative sign means flip. That's all you need to know. The negative sign means flip. It doesn't make anything negative.
So it's just 1 over x2?
So I flip it, and I drop the negative.
That's not bad.
So that means it's.
And you don't have to do anything else with it.
No. If I had 1 over x to the negative 3, this is x cubed. Means flip. It's not that hard, but so many people think because it's a negative, then my answer's got to have a negative in it. The negative, all it means is flip. Once you've flipped it, found the inverse, you can drop it. You don't have to deal with it anymore. The negative just means whatever you've got, flip it. Okay?
A little bit so I can see what happened before. Okay, that's all. Thanks.
Okay. Let's do one that's a little complicated.
No problem on one board that if you want to do on the board too, that'd be awesome.
Let's do C squared. And I'm going to cube it.
So first you would distribute.
You can do this in one of 2 ways. You can simplify what's in the parentheses first and then raise everything to the 3rd. Or you can distribute the 3 into everything and then simplify.
But that'd be
I
better.
feel like that was a lot easier.
Either way, let's do it both ways for practice.
Okay.
Okay, let's simplify what's in the parentheses first. So when I simplify exponents, I subtract when I'm dividing, right? So 3 minus 4. B squared, so 2 minus negative 2. 2 minus negative 2.
How
Well, so far this is what I have, and nothing's in the numerator or denominator yet. Okay? 4 minus 2, and then I cube it. And when I cube something, when I raise exponents to exponents, what do? You multiply. So negative 1 times 3, 4 times 3, c to the 6. Now, usually they don't want answers with negative exponents. So what does the negative mean?
You gotta flip it.
Flip it. So I'm, instead of being up here, it's going to be over here. And that's it.
Oh, so you don't like.
Negative means flip. Whatever side it's on, move it to the other and drop the negative. Okay? Let's do it the other way. Let's,
The negative one.
huh?
Only the negative.
Uh-huh.
Only negatives.
So here, I have 8 to the 9th, b to the 6th, c to the 12th, over a to the 12th, b to the negative 6th, c to the 6th. 9 minus 12, 6 minus negative 6. Oh, that's a b. And 12 minus 6. This flips. Same answer. So this one I chose to simplify what's inside first, and then I cubed everything. This one I chose to cube everything and then simplify, and I got the same answer. You can do it either way. It's whatever works best for you. Parentheses, I mean, PEMDAS says simplify parentheses before you do exponents. But you'll get the same answer either way. Okay? What were some other... I should look real quick.
I've got a couple questions about this one.
You want to use mine?
How about with like? You know that. Oh, you have it on you.
I'm just pulling up the lesson to make sure.
You never said that when I said you could use mine.
It says it's correct, but I can see.
You're not gonna reach if you don't sit there.
Chapter 6 and 6:1.
They should do that. People do that sometimes.
Do what? Yeah, there's just gonna be holes all over the page. Oh yeah.
Okay, so I think I've covered everything, but just so you know, if I have 3 squared times 4 cubed squared, I just distribute that to both. So this would just be 3 to the 4th, 4 to the 6th. Okay, and if you divide, you distribute the exponent to both if you've got something in the parentheses. The only thing that I'm going to add tomorrow, I could just do today, and then you guys would have all period tomorrow to work, is any number to a 0 power is always 1. Always. Infinity to the 0 is 1. B to the 0 is 1. 3 to the 0 is 1. I've said it before. Any number to the 0 is 1.
That just makes.
Well, the reason is, what do I do with the exponent?
It just goes away.
Subtract. What is 3 cubed divided by 3 cubed? 1. Any number to the 0 power is 1.
So here I am in Webwork trying to enter an answer, and it just keeps saying you can only use powers of a variable or factor. And it highlights a little caret thing.
I'll come help you in just a second. Any questions? Okay.
Could you just like do a problem where it doesn't have to be line? Like mine, for example, is 7s 40 negative 40 caret.
Say it again.
7s exponent of 41 over 3s exponent of 49.
Yeah.
And mine doesn't have those parentheses around it, but
Yeah,
I'll
what if I
do
get rid of
that
the
one.
next?
It will. What do you mean? It doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't have
Yeah,
those.
some places it
Huh.
That's how I do mine.
Okay, so it's 7/3. S, 41 minus 49 is negative 8. Negative 8. And if it's s to the negative 8, it's got to flip to the denominator. So it's 7 over 3s to the 8th.
So do I just put the s, like the division, and then those in parentheses?
3s to the 8th is in the denominator, so all of that has to be in the parentheses.
Is this the same color? Okay, I just need help submitting one.
Okay.